Mr. Winfrey, you said you wanted to continue back with the mark of the beast.
Yes, I'd like to talk a little bit more about the mark of the beast, about the computer chip will be put in the people. Right now we got to the cell phone now to be using to buy and sell right now. So later on we're going to be going into the computer chip in your hand or in your forehead. And most people are going to want to receive the computer chip in their forehead. I know it's mostly unbelievable to people right now, but it's coming. It's right around the corner, and a lot of people start doing it right now, having the chip put in their brain and a computer chip in their hand. But they're going to start doing it for buying and selling. Let me listen to a tape about this false prophet. I'll let you listen to a tape about that false prophet. He said the computer chip will not be the mark of the beast, but it's not so. Let me let you listen to this, what he said.
The Bible chip. Listen to me carefully now. I'm going to make a statement now, and I'm on shortwave radio. And listen to me. This is the pure reason why the Bible chip will not be the mark of the beast. It's because Terry Cook has said so. Amen. How you like that? Because Larry Bates has said so. And because Tex Mars is saying so. Are you following me? Because you see, they have doctrines that are antichrist. And why wouldn't Satan like to camouflage his mark of the beast? And I've always told you the spirit of the Antichrist is going to work from within the church. And these guys are within the church. Certain men have crept in unaware. They're not teaching holiness. Tex Mars does not preach against sin. You never hear him talk about sin in the life of people. You never hear Terry Cook talk about sin. You never hear Bill Cooper talk about sin. You never hear Larry Bates talk about sin. The one thing that tears out the heart of God, they won't even touch it. Hey, brother, you can refuse all the mark of the beast, and you still got sin in your heart. You're going to hell. You're going to hell. See? And that's the reason why I will not let them come on here and put fear and doubt, whatever they want to put in the heart of the people, and then tell them they're not even going to be here. That's a lie. It's a lie, and I will not have it. Now, I'd rather have Dr. John Coleman, because at least he won't deal with that. You follow me? That's why if I have somebody, I want somebody like Dr. John Coleman, who will not get on and say, well, now, praise the Lord, now we're going to be here, or we're going to be called out. They're lying. They are lying. I can't say that any plainer than that. And the mark of the beast is not going to be the computer chip. Now, how do you like that? I like it. I made a profound statement. And I promise you before Almighty God, the mark of the beast will not be the computer chip. Now, it's going to be involved in the computer. You understand my point? But they don't have to put a chip in you. All they got to do is put a mark on you. And that's what it's going to be. A mark. A mark. It's so simple. God don't lie. No, sir. It's going to be a mark. And God never, back in the Old Testament, again, when you go back to the pattern, he in the very law taught that a man should not mark his body. He sure did. See, preparing us not to receive any mark in our physical body. And the computer chip is not a mark. It's not a mark. They are going to get that thing so sophisticated, boy. Can you imagine trying to inject somebody with a little chip? They kick like a Missouri mule. But they won't kick when you put a little mark on their hand. They won't kick on that. I'm telling you they won't. They'll say, look, hey, come on.
You see that, ladies and gentlemen? The man said a mark of the beast will not be a computer chip. And the people getting the computer chip right now in them. Getting ready to buy and sell. You see? This is what I'm telling you, how people, false prophet, deceive the people. And he used God's name. He promised the people, and using God's name, that the mark of the beast will not be a computer chip. You see?
Right. So are they doing this in Europe, right? Right? So
Yeah,
nothing
in
new.
Europe, at the companies, many companies are doing that. In order for you to work at the company, you have to have a chip in you. Otherwise, you can't work there. They could be doing it right here in the U.S. after a while. And maybe they're doing it now. A lot of time you just don't hear about it right now. So there's a lot of things that do, just like men having babies now. And people thought it was impossible.
Right.
Yeah. But it was on the radio. I listened to it on the radio about a month ago. A man had a baby. He changed his sex. See, there's a lot of things they're doing behind the scene that people don't know about. But the mark of the beast, people using computer chip. Everything run the computer now. They're putting a computer chip in people's brain right now. All of that. A lot of people thought that was impossible long 15, 20, 30 years ago. But now they're doing it and they talk about it, they're advertising about it. A lot of people don't hear about it, but you can find in a lot of places on the internet that they are doing it, putting the chip in people's brain. Now, you go back 30 or 40 years ago, you'd be wondering how that would happen. But everything now, technology is here now. It's unbelievable what the thing they are doing now. But the mark of the beast, it will be a computer chip, everything run by computer. And he said the mark of the beast will not be a computer chip. And they're already doing it right now. I'm going to let you listen to another tape right here. Let me see here.
Has to be why would you want a computer chip implanted into your hand?
Well, so there are a number of reasons. One is the sheer novelty of it.
Yes.
I had an opportunity. I figured I was not going to have many more opportunities to casually get a chip implanted into my hand. But more seriously, there were some practical applications that I thought I could use it for. I'm currently talking with the building manager for a company in DC about using my hand as a key fob. I'm always fumbling for my keys, but my hand's right there.
All right, so let me back you up for a minute then. I mean, because that all sounds cool and whiz bang and oh my gosh, the future is here. Let me back you up. You went to this thing called a grind fest, right? Biohacking, basically.
Right.
Give me a list of some of the, like the top 3 things people are doing, people in this community are doing.
Sure. So the most universal one was putting chips inside.
Right.
The second most common was probably magnetic implants in fingertips, which turns you into a very sort of low-rent version of Magneto from the X-Men. You can lift paper clips and various other very light metallic objects, so it's a fun party trick.
Right.
And the third one I was going to mention is Rich Lee, who's a prominent biohacker who was at the event, blazed the trail for a kind of implant known as tragus implants, where...
What?
So the tragus is this bunch of cartilage sort of on your outer ear, this sort of hard part right in the middle of your ear. And so he basically has earbuds implanted into his ears permanently.
Which is really cool, I guess, and could eventually put, earbud manufacturers out of business if this gets adopted at scale. But, and this is a point you make in your piece, the technology we really want, right? The biohacking stuff we really want, like robotic hearts and stuff like that, we're not even there yet.
We're not there yet, but we're getting there. So one example of a midterm thing that's probably a few years off, but is not sort of super speculative, would be an implant that could detect the enzymes that are released from your heart when you go into cardiac arrest. That's something you can pick up in your blood, and people already have implants that can run sort of very basic blood tests. If you expanded that capacity, if you were able to do more sophisticated blood tests, you could imagine an implant that can tell within seconds or even a fraction of a second whether you're having a heart attack, that is connected to a cellular network and can call 911 and can dramatically improve response time for emergencies like that.
Okay, so let's get back to you for a second and the chip in your hand. I have, as you might imagine, some questions. You ready?
Sure. You and my mother.
Yeah, I bet. It's tiny, so I'm guessing it doesn't set off like metal detectors at the airport. That's all cool?
It doesn't. I went through TSA yesterday, not a peep.
Okay. Do you worry about being hacked? What kind of information is on this thing?
So the thing about it is it's near field communication, RFID. These are very short distance technologies. It's not like some hacker in China can go and make their way into it.
Not yet, man. Not yet.
Not yet.
Right.
It is something I worry about, and I think it's something that people will have to worry about as more and more personal information gets on this stuff.
But play this out for a minute. There is a not too distant future where I can wave my RFID chip that I have in my hand at a payment thing, and it will deduct it from my checking account, right? Or
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that's going to drive development of this, that if you can imagine the increase in consumption, if purchasing things becomes that easy, it's very, very attractive to retailers.
Dylan Matthews, he's a senior correspondent at Vox.com, and he has a little chip in his hand. Dylan, thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.
You see that, ladies and gentlemen, what I was telling you? And the mark of the beast is going to be a computer chip. They're going to use the computer chip to buy and sell it. To buy and sell. See, there's a lot of people do not understand it. Just like the Social Security said it was only for Social Security when it first came out with the Social Security. Now they use the Social Security to buy and sell. If you want to buy a house, you got to have a Social Security. Buy a car, you got to have a Social Security to sell a car. You know, buying and selling. Same thing they'll do with the mark of the beast. Usually for the job now. To get a job, some company require, big companies in Europe require you to have the chip in you. And you're going to use it later on for buying and selling. That's how they operate. They get you to volunteer to get that. That's why the Bible says it calls you to receive the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. See, he ain't gonna make you, he'll cause you. Say, well, you can't, you really won't be able to function in this world without it. See, you're gonna have to have a cellular phone, smartphone to buy and sell, or the smart card to buy and sell, or you're gonna have to have a chip in you, in your hand or your forehead, different devices. Like I already say, I put that in my book, it's going to be different devices that they will use in order for you to buy and sell. Different countries use a little different thing. A lot of countries are using the smartphone to buy and sell now. In Africa, a lot of 80%, some of the countries are using it. They don't use no money no more. It's going to be a cashless society. Sooner or later, it's what they after being a cashless society, so nobody won't be able to rob or steal from you anymore. See, that's what it's all about. I mean, let's listen to another tape here. Let's see right here.
Security experts who say that the U.S. has already failed in implementing chip cards because we haven't implemented the chip and PIN system. So in Europe, they have these cards with chips in them, but then you put in a PIN code as sort of a double layer of verification. That's optional in the U.S., and most people, unless it's a debit card where you always use a PIN code, most retailers aren't requiring a PIN. So anytime you're using a chip but not a chip and PIN, you're not necessarily that much more secure, especially considering that 80% of us are still just using the swipe method.
All right, so where does this go next year, Molly?
This is a behavior that we've been doing for decades, swiping our cards. And so the behavior is going to have to change. Probably the second generation of terminals are going to be better. You know, a year from now, it'll probably be a lot easier. But there are so many competing methods for payment that I actually think we'll be paying with our phones before we really, most of us, end up getting super used to chip cards. Because I gotta say, I will take the Apple Pay experience over the chip card experience 9 times out of 10. So much easier.
Eventually the chip will be embedded in us and we'll have to wave a thing.
Now that's what I'm waiting for. I'm all over it.
Marketplace's senior tech correspondent, Molly.
I'm telling you, people will volunteer. That's what they're waiting for, the chip. They want it. See, a lot of people do not understand. That's why I put it in my book, that people will volunteer. And people want to know how I know these things. I know how people think. I just like about the chip in the brain. People go back 30, 40 years ago and people never thought that people would put something to buy and sell from the forehead, from the brain. But people want it now. So they'll use it for being smart and all that, you know, to learn, to get a job so they can be the smartest one on the job. They will want the chip in their brain because they will know everything like what's on the internet.
Like a robot.
Like a robot, exactly. Like Terminator. All right, this is all you have for me today.
Thank you, Mr. Winfrey, and I appreciate your time. And I will interview you when I have more questions for you.
All right,
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you.